Welcome to the Unicorn, where we talk about all things independent comics, specifically the greatest super comic book in the universe. Robert Kirkman's Invincible. I'm Mikey.
I'm the other one. All right. So, Mikey, we are doing episodes 4 through 6 of Invincible,
Yeah,
correct?
it's our bonus episode. Remember when
My
we did those, people?
goodness.
We're doing it again. So
Yeah,
we're
man.
gonna do our second part of our review finally for episodes 4 through 6 of Amazon Prime's Invincible.
Mhm.
I know we're late, but I mean, this is an Invincible podcast. So we're gonna talk about all things Invincible.
Yeah.
So
Things get done when they get done. We don't want to hear any complaints.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then somewhere down the line we'll get our other review for the last two episodes. So that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we'll get right into it. So we'll talk about episode 4
Mm.
titled Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out. If you can't tell by the title, it is the episode just like in the comic where Mark goes to Mars, and it
Mhm.
is a interesting good time. But so we're gonna just go through our moments in the episode that I thought I have mentioned on my notes. But for starters, because obviously it's the show, they're gonna do changes differently from the comic. But the episode started out with this like funny mummy scene where like this archaeologist, like this archaeological dig in Egypt, were like digging up this mummy, this ancient mummy that like said like if he was unleashed, he was gonna like end the world. And then Mark just ends it by like accidentally closing the tomb
Yeah, for
while
flying so low with the storm of sand that he was having behind him.
yeah, like
I legit thought that was gonna come back later on. I was like, "Ooh, new stuff! Finally, let's see what happens." And throughout the entire episode, I was like, "When is this mummy gonna come back?" And it never came back.
and which is like it's so invincible. Like it wouldn't
It
be
is.
invincible if they didn't do stuff like that.
It really is. It's so goddamn clever.
Yeah, but it's so yeah. But like after that, there was a right after that, Mark and Nolan are in like Mount Everest talking, and I found it interesting the fact that like Mark was questioning like, isn't it kind of like I don't it like your story about how you just abandoned the Viltrum to like be a peacekeeper on Earth like doesn't really like make sense to me. Like it would be difficult for me to like leave everything behind, and he's just like, nah, like, when your grandparents died, I just felt lost. So this gave me some purpose. Don't question me. That was like the whole thing.
Don't ask any more questions besides that, please.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
just for the record, like, these 3 episodes, like, there's a like, overarching theme is just, like, suspicion. Like, I loved that a lot throughout, like, this whole part of the season. But, yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then Debbie starts, because remember last episode 3, Damien Darkblood was, like, telling Debbie, hey, yo, like, her husband kind of sus.
It's kind of such, bro. You probably just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, so then she starts like, looking into Damien to see like if like, what he investigates actually is like, legitimate, and it just increases her suspicion on Nolan, which I think is really cool. Um but yeah, and then Amber and like Mark go on a little date, and it's really cute, and he's just like, hey, like it's like this Asian, it's like this Asian market, I think,
Yeah.
I believe.
And like
Uh,
shows how worldly she is by knowing all these like different types of items and her time
yeah,
abroad,
yeah,
volunteering and stuff.
and they try to get that box, that like Tibetan box, and it looks like
Yeah,
it's 800. And be like, oh, but like you can get this rice
this rice
separator
filter thing
to like
for like
separate
five
your
dollars.
rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, like this episode, like with that part, like yeah, like they're it's like Mark's like he's in love, and it's like it's really cute. It's like it's just like in the comic with her and Amber, like it was a very cute relationship that they started.
Hmm.
Um, okay, this is my favorite part of the episode. Freaking when Nolan confronts Damien, and it's just like, yo, like fuck off, like if you come meet my family again, I will literally like. I don't think he threatens to kill him. I just think like I think he might threaten to kill him. Yeah, he threatens to kill him,
Yeah.
and then he's just like, oh, but like I'm gonna tell everyone like that you killed the Guardians. Like, but who are they gonna believe, me or you? And then he's just like, Damon's like, but listen up, like your wife's suspecting something. Sooner or later, like, Mark's gonna suspect something, and he just leaves by just saying "fuck off,"
Yeah.
Dark One just leaves.
He literally just stays floating like a god in the door. He's like, "Fuck you," and then leaves.
Yeah, it's so good. Like J.K. Simmons is so good.
Mm-hmm. He
Comedic.
does a great voice for stern, yet like fatherly. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
like
good.
stern,
Very great for Omni Man.
fatherly, like very like intimidating. Like oddly enough, it's really good. But yeah, that was the
Mm-hmm.
one I thought was great. And then the Mahler twins are the one Mahler twin now cloning the new Mahler twin, and then
Mm-hmm.
Robot's just like, I like this. I want to see
I
what's going
really
on.
enjoyed the process that they did
Okay,
with the Mahler twins.
I know, right? Like, here's the thing, right? Like, because they showed, like how that process was, like him getting the blood with the drill, because like needles can't pierce the skin,
Yeah,
and just in putting that slide of blood into the machine, and he
and putting
takes
that
Burger
one
Mart meat.
cell.
Yeah, he takes Burger Mart meat, and
Mm-hmm.
then okay, is it? Because my mind was like, okay, either like logically, I'm like, okay, he's using the Burger Mart meat to feed the cells so they can grow quicker, or
Mm-hmm.
like, are the Mullet twins just made out of Burger Mart meat?
Aren't we all basically made out of Burger Mart meat,
Dude,
Mikey?
I mean, maybe. Like,
Yeah, man. Like,
what?
what really is the difference between us and Burger Mart meat?
That's
Yeah,
good. Well, I don't know how they make Burger Mart. It might be whole like the whole McDonald's thing where they make everything out of like pink slime. You don't know.
yeah. Burger
So,
Mart meat is people. Soylent Green is people.
I
But yeah,
guess.
I really enjoyed seeing the process because we never actually touched upon it in the comics, and it went from start to finish, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, like that's what I like about the show. Like it takes the time to like like in terms of like filling in the gaps or like further like world building
Mm-hmm.
with like the world, as well as like making the characters more like making us know more about the characters, since like they have a lot more time to expand that, which I love. So like I love that, and I also love that Run the Jewels plays every time they're there, and I love Run the Jewels. So
Hmm.
like, so I think it's dope. But then Rex is just like, I like what's going on here. Just spying on them, because remember last episode it was revealed that I think it was
He was
revealed,
the
yeah,
one
that
who,
Rex
yeah, he
them.
was the one that released them
Yeah,
the last
in prison.
episode.
Yeah, so there's that. And the next thing that happened was, the new Guardians of the Globe are in the new base. So they're just, like, hey, like, our new base, let's go. And I think the new Guardians, again, are like Rex, Monster Girl, Duplicate, Shrinking Ray, who is now a woman, and
Mm-hmm. Black
Robot.
Samson,
Yeah, and Black Samson.
African
And
American Samson.
African American Samson.
Mm-hmm.
And and I love how like, and they're getting reacquainted and stuff like that, and like and all that stuff, and then we see the bloodstained wall, and Cecil's like what, like they're asking like, why is it there? And he's
Yeah,
like,
Rex was like, "Hey, what the hell is with that goddamn wall?" And then
exactly.
Cecil goes off, is like, "It's a reminder. It's what the fucking old people used to do. The
Yeah,
old Guardians of the Globe. We get rid of it when you step up."
basically, like, and I
Yeah,
love how like, oh, they kind of prove themselves towards like the episode 6, but how they show like how much they suck as like
yeah,
the new Guardians.
yeah.
It's
They do
so funny.
suck. Yeah, I don't think they proved themselves in that point. I think it was like in the last two that they proved themselves. Really.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, definitely. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But then also Robot. I think like Rex was making a comment. Yeah, well, because like Rex, no, not Rex, sorry, Robot didn't like how how close Amanda and Rex were getting, and then he's just like stepped aside, like, yo, you gotta back off a Monster Girl, like she's kind of a child. And Rex is like, well, like I can get any girl I want, so like I'm not even worrying about her.
Oh
And
my
he's like,
god.
that's good. And then
Yeah.
he gets a
The
little piece of
fucking
shoulder.
irony,
Yeah.
because Robot is the one who wants to bone this child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, granted, they're both 25. Well,
yeah, they're
she's
both. No, Rudy's like
no. Well,
30.
Amanda said she was 25 in the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's 25, but everyone, yeah. I don't know how old Rex is at that point, but
No.
Rudy, I think he's in his 30s.
Yeah, Rudy's probably in his 30s. Yeah. But then he's just like, "Are we good?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're good." And he taps him on the shoulder. Rex like, "Ah, my shoulder," and it's revealed, yeah, that like Robot got his blood like on the low. So we're gonna again it's cooking and seasoning. Like I haven't said that enough, but like in a while. But yeah, more cooking and seasoning there.
Yeah.
Um,
You could say what it's for. I mean,
oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty
they
sure
know. Oh
everyone
yeah,
knows.
y'all know. Yeah, because he's gonna
Yeah, we are.
freaking
Everybody knows. Yeah,
yeah, because he's gonna be making his Rex body,
his Rex
um,
baby.
his Rex baby.
Yeah.
And yeah, like again, like in the comics. Well, I liked how I forgot how it was in the comic. I think like no, Cecil just told Mark about the mission just straight up. I think he didn't like because in the show he goes and talks to
Yeah.
Debbie and Nolan because they wanted Nolan to do it, but then Mark's like, "I'll volunteer," and then
Hmm.
Nolan's like, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cecil definitely asked him. I'm pretty sure I remember. He was just in the comics. He was like, "Yeah, can you do it?"
yeah.
And of course, Mark, being the little Boy Scout he used to be, he was like, "Oh, golly she, sure.
Oh boy, good. Oh boy, would I? Like,
I'll
so
listen to you, surrogate father figure."
yeah. So yeah, that was really interesting, and I liked how like no one was very against it because like no, you got to be here, and like you're not even trained yet. But then Nolan, but
Mhm.
Debbie's like, it could save lives, Mark. I like how I was like Nolan is like trying to like use Mark for his own agenda because obviously he votes him all the way. But then like
Mhm.
Debbie's like his North Star, like leading him on the right path. You know, I
Mhm.
love it's good
A little
stuff.
bit of humanity.
Exactly, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mark goes up to space, and then but then it's revealed, and I love this that there's a house across the street that they're monitoring. The Pentagon's monitoring the Graysons, and we see our boy Donald, and it's revealed
Mhm.
that no, like
Yeah. AKA Bobby Hill.
okay, Bobby.
Yeah.
But it's revealed that like he originally wanted Nolan to go up so that they could monitor him and like figure out like what the hell was going on. But then Cecil's taking advantage of Mark because he wants to see what Mark can do just in case the worst case scenario happens, which we found out like the end fight. That was interesting. Again, I love how they're just there's more time, so they're just developing more stuff. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so then there's a conversation with Mark and Eve later on about I think it's like Mark talking to Eve about the whole Rex thing, and then Eve's like it's not really about Rex, it's about Rex and my parents and life, and she doesn't really know if she wants to be a superhero anymore, and so like they kind of make a deal where as if like if Eve helps him, like if Eve helps Mark with like his Amber situation, that they if
Mark
she
helps
needs
Eve with her situation.
yeah, like when I'm with Rex, like if she needs anyone to talk to, like he's there for her. It's very cute. It's very sweet.
Mhm.
More seasoning that relationship.
Yeah, so they can finally fuck. Because that's everyone knows. Even if you didn't read the comics, you could definitely tell that Eve's the end game.
No, 100%. That like they definitely tease it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Amber's just the angry detour that everyone's forced to take.
exactly. Especially because everyone hates Amber right now.
Yes, everyone hates her.
So like people are gonna be so happy when like she like when Mark and Eve get together finally.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, so after that, like Mark leaves for Mars, and then I love again we get that iconic scene from the comic where he eats the
With the
sandwich in space.
sandwich. The frozen sandwich.
And then again, I love the fact that you always hate how that doesn't work. Like the
No,
fact
I
that
was actually thinking about it. That might be that. Yeah, that might make sense.
like you're just like I don't know if you argue that like if the sandwich would freeze or if or like I forgot what your argument was. I know you didn't like that for some reason.
Yeah, there was probably something that I saw, but now that I think about it now, it's probably scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's Mark lives off, takes off of space, and tells Amber that he's going on like a mission trip or like a mission trip for like 2 weeks, and
Mm.
it's funny, because like again he's lying to her, and she ends up again with being suspicious. She gets very suspicious of Mark, of like what he's doing. And then I think like Nolan and Debbie argue about her suspicions. Not she didn't like she argued about if he ever lied to her, because I remember in the beginning Red Rush's wife was talking to her about selling their house, and he tells like always superheroes always lie to each other, like lie to people, and then they have that little argument. So like I like that. Like just real quick before we say anything, I want to ask: do you like the fact that like they're stretching out the whole Nolan suspicion
Yes.
thing?
Yes, I
Like,
do.
mm,
Definitely. In the comics, it just felt so rushed.
Yeah,
Like,
well, yeah, for sure.
yeah, and here I get to savor it. It's just the
Exactly.
whole intensity. Like your butt cheeks are clenched the entire time. Like at one point, is this god gonna just go ape shit and murder everything? Because listen, we're fucked regardless. It's not a
Exactly.
matter of can we stop him or if we stop him. It's a matter of if we survive.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
and also
who's
it
the
gives
next?
Debbie more to do because she didn't really have a lot to do early on
Oh
in the
yeah,
comics.
and
So
of course Debbie. Yeah, a little bit more character development, which is great. She was a
yeah.
very great character, and
Hmm.
they didn't. I hope that I hope that they're gonna improve a lot more on the show that they did on the comics
Yeah,
with her character.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Because there are some points that I want to be addressed,
Hmm.
and I hope that they address it.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, after that, Mark finds out that all the astronauts got captured by the Martians when he's up there because I think he like falls asleep out of boredom.
Yeah, yeah. It was just keeping an eye, and then he got bored, took a nap, and then what you know it, they're missing.
Yeah, he's like, well, shit, okay. It's gonna find all these astronauts now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, okay. But this is also important. While he's looking around, he encounters the sequids,
Yeah,
the evil calamari, and
yeah.
because of his Viltrumite heritage, he's unaffected. They can't get through his skin because the mind control aspect. I thought that was really cool. And then when he's looking again for the he goes underneath where like the Martians actually live on the planet, which is again great. The fact that like that explains why Mars just looks barren because they live underneath. But yeah, and then he encounters the Sequids again, and the Martians like, why aren't you affected by the Sequids? And then it leads him to talk to like the Martian Emperor, who's played by Jaimon Hansu, who you've seen from like Shazam, who plays the Wizard Shazam, and like Guardians, where he plays the guy who doesn't know what Star Lord is. Um, yeah. And Black Panther, if you ever watched Marvel Knights Black Panther, which is like one of my favorite Black Panther things growing up. I love that. But yeah, it's played by him, and that's where he explains the whole origin of the Sequids, which we all know they're like a conquering race of aliens that want to take over things.
They take over people and then take over the world.
Exactly. So
But
get rid
they
of that
need a
whole
host in order to survive.
exactly because without hosts they're stupid, but with the host they're just like that's where the hive mind activates and they're like really intelligent and all that stuff. And the Martians aren't affected because they shapeshift. So yeah. But then like towards the end, like they find out like so like I'm just gonna like in this scene right here because like I'm just gonna take the astronauts. We're just gonna get out of here. It's like no, we can't risk a Sequid like attacking to a human, and then they're gonna conquer your planet and then get all powerful. So yeah, we're gonna execute them. And he's like, oh okay. And Love cuts to black.
Cutscene.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! It's so funny.
And then the astronauts are like struggling to keep up because their suits are so big.
Exactly.
They're doing like the astronaut wobble.
Exactly. So they end up, because Marx is a Viltrumite, and they end up escaping. And but then we get that little reveal that we got in the comic that one of the astronauts is replaced by a Martian.
Oh, are we not gonna do like the little callback with the sandstorm that he made at the beginning?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that.
See? He learns. He's developing as a hero in his own way.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, and they have that standoff where they're just like it's so funny.
Perfect representation.
Like I don't know how I could do that. Like
no, you did great.
Yeah.
You did great.
But but we get the reveal that Ray Livingston was replaced by a Martian who I hope he's gonna be Shapesmith in season 2. That'd be really cool. But yeah, then towards the end, there's 3 things that happen towards the end when Mark gets back. Well, one, he finds his parents like literally like finishing while having sex. Which I think is classic Invincible. There's that, but Cecil ends up banishing Damien Darkblood to hell because he kept trying to figure out what's going on when he told him not to. So he's like, okay, you're gonna give you a timeout in hell, and then he just banishes him. Which is cool. And then Robot faces off against the Marlowe twins and offers them. No, he does not. He encounters
Offers.
the tumor baby. He encounters tumor baby Rudy, and it's just like,
No,
yeah,
we see Tumor Baby Rudy in this.
yeah.
Okay.
Because it's again like in the comic where Robot goes into the building he's in, that dark building, and then we see how to tumor baby Rudy, and then he's like initiate phase 1. That's what happens at the end as well. And then lastly, I kind of forgot also that Damien snuck into the house.
Oh, and he left a little notebook.
Yeah, and at the end it's revealed he left his journal to Debbie so that she can again prove that Nolan is a bad guy. So then that's how
human skin diary that has a face on it.
Is it the Necronomicon? Yes. Like, if you ever watch for those Evil Dead fans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so thoughts on the episode? Christian, you want to your thoughts on the whole episode?
Very nice callback. The whole scene in space was just straight nostalgia for me of like the first couple comics that we started to read with our podcast.
Yeah.
Very nice. What else can I add? Also, a bunch of new interesting stuff with the whole detective things with Nolan. They kept it very nice and fresh, which I really appreciate. Pretty good.
For me, I thought this episode was good. Like again, just seeing the whole like now Damien's like suspicion now spreading to Debbie and her, giving her an actual prominent role, I think is great. The whole Mars thing is dope. I thought the Mars thing was a lot of fun. Like it's very fun. Again, a lot of callbacks, not just a lot of callbacks from the comic, and then the whole callback from the beginning with the sandstorm. That was great, and it was very good. Like, you know, I'm really like when I was watching, when I rewatched, I was like I'm really digging these changes that they're making with the storyline and just spread out, you know, those first like 9 issues, you know. So it's good stuff.
It doesn't feel like an adaptation.
No,
it feels like an improvement.
It does. Like
it's like every flaw that was in the comic.
Yeah,
he was just like, all right, let's get rid of it and make it better.
It makes me curious about how they're gonna do like the rest of the book, like what changes they're gonna make, you know. So, also just real quick before we move on, I was watching an interview with Kirkman. I think it was like about talking about the season finale, I think, of Invincible, like just the whole show as a whole. And he was talking about like one of the changing thing, like, you know, the whole expanding Damien Darkblood. He said it was a lot of fun because like now like he's banished in hell. So like he's like maybe we could see like, you know, Mark and Damien Darkblood battling out in hell like for an episode. Like
that would be sick.
That would be awesome.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah.
So like
Robert Kirkman, we know you're watching. We know you
watch this podcast.
Make sure you add that in season 2, and if not, we'll be waiting for it in season 3.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. It was pretty solid. I really liked it. But yeah, so just to move on to episode 5. Episode 5. Titled, That Actually
Boy Titan.
To start out, our boy Titan has finally been introduced, paid by our other boy, Mahershala Ali, aka Big Hirsch. Dude, he was my favorite casting choice because I'm a big fan of Mahershala ever since Luke Cage and you know, Moonlight as well. You know, Oscar-winning actor, like now gonna be playing Blade. So like, I was so happy that he was playing. I thought it was perfect. So
of course,
perfect
casting all around. Of the show.
No casting is bad. Like there's no bad casting in the show.
There really isn't. No.
But yeah, we get introduced to Titan, and we just see, you know, Titan take out these Mexican. I don't know if they're Mexican.
They're not Mexicans, Mike.
They're not Mexican.
They're definitely Asian.
Are they Asian?
Yes, they are, Mike.
Okay, I don't know.
Very much Asian.
They're not cholos.
They're not cholos, Mike.
Okay, well, Yeah, he's taking out these gangsters and he's fucking them up. I also love the design choice for like we don't really see his eyes. It's just like those cracks where like his eyes are like implied to be. I think in his
Mhm.
mouth. I think it's really cool. But yeah, we see him mess up these gangsters, and like the first like 20 minutes is just like the life, like the day in the life of like Titan, like what he does, and you know, and we kind of it kind of gets revealed like when we see him doing his running those errands that he's kind of like he he's a criminal, but like obviously
With
we
the
learn about his
heart.
circumstances, but like he's a criminal with a heart, like he's a nice dude. Like we see, well, one he did kill most of those gangsters, but he left one away to tell everyone else. You know,
Mhm.
we see him burn down a building, but then give people money to and a location for another place they can stay to for the time being, and they, like give them money for rent for like a few months. That was really cool. As well as uh, him about to drop a guy who owes money to the person he owes monies to, which is again his machine head. And he realized that he has a wife and kid, and he's like, listen, I'll give you 2 more days, and if not, you're gonna be painting the sidewalk. That's what he says.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it really I don't really remember if they showed that in the comic. I mean, like we didn't know that like
All
he
bad.
he wasn't all bad, but
Yeah.
like didn't really give him a chance to like show it. Again, it was kind of
Yeah, we
quick.
didn't expand on anything with his character all too much. I don't think we even talked about him having a family in the comic book.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. We'll just get out of the way now. Yeah, like it's revealed that he has a wife and kid, and I love that.
Mhm.
I thought that again for implemented the whole that he's a criminal out of circumstance, not by choice. So
Mhm.
I love that. Also, side thing, just real quick, that Mark quits the Burger Mart like in between this as well,
Woo!
and then at the same time, it's kind of showing that like the while Titan's doing his thing, Mark is doing his thing as like a privileged superhero, and
Oh
how he's
yeah. They definitely go like stereotypical classic early 90s superhero action stuff, you know? They got
yeah.
a villain's wreaking havoc with some weird ass weapon. They're going, ha ha ha, I'm Dr. Doop to do. And then he just comes in with a punch and saves the day.
Yeah, like he literally
Very
has with
classic.
the recording that gets online where like he punches, like he like straight up yeets Kill Cannon, and like
Hmm.
doesn't kill him for some reason. But like, there was that. There was also like him texting Amber while someone was trying to throw like shit at him, and it just didn't happen.
Oh, that was hilarious. Absolutely
um,
hilarious.
and also the scene where he is oh yeah, also when he is with Omni Man, and he dropped it. Omni Man was teaching him how to interrogate a criminal, and he just drops some dude. He drops the guy, and just it takes like him a while from the like we can just wait a little bit while like he drops. Like we just talk for a bit. It just shows that like again, kind of the seeds of like how non-empathetic like Nolan
Omni
is.
Man is to the human race.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I love the small things they do with Omni Man that are
Hmm.
very subtle things, but it implies what it's gonna go, what his intentions are down the line. I love that, but um, and also at the same time, Amber's questioning like
Why
Mark's
he's so flaky.
yeah, like yeah, why Mark is so flaky being late, and if he thinks the relationship is serious, and they revealed that like they've been talking for 3 months, like they've been together for 3 months. So that was really cool, and the fact that like he has to prove that he wants to do better in the relationship. What I mean is, again, it's a real conversation. It's a realistic conversation.
Of
You know,
course. Yeah.
yeah. It's but again, she doesn't know that he's invincible, and
Hmm.
he was going to tell her that he was going to be invincible. He stopped himself because he thought about it. Uh, but yeah, so now we go back with Debbie. Debbie finds the journal again, and now she's reading it, and now is now reading it, and is going to be going on this investigation furthermore with Omni Man. I think it's really cool.
At that point, Debbie's whole attitude towards Omni Man changes
Exactly.
like entirely. Like she thinks he's absolutely suspicious and definitely guilty for killing the Guardians of the
Well, she
Galaxy.
doesn't think he's guilty. He just thinks that like he was involved in their deaths, but
Hmm.
like he doesn't think like he did it with like full intentions. She doesn't really think that. Like she has full
Yeah, she thinks that he did it, but she doesn't know why she did it. why he
Exactly.
did it. Yeah.
Like for all
So
we know,
now she's just acting because she's basically married to a god. You don't piss
exactly.
off a god, so she's walking on glass, and it's very intense for the viewer to experience.
Yeah, and then like all for all we know, like and for all we know, like she thinks that like that they turned on him and he struck first to defend himself. Like and that actually carries on like towards the end too. Like that's what she thinks until Omni Man says like, no, I fucked him up on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then she finds out that like like the key to the finding proof is the bloody costume, like his old bloodied costume. That would be the best evidence. So that's her goal right now is to find this bloody costume because he didn't want the one of the like the nurse or like the doctors at the clinic throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was like okay, like that means something. I love that. Eve again arguing with her shitty parents about Rex. Yeah, you don't remember that?
Is this the one? Is this where they first got introduced, or when she's leaving?
No, this is when they first get introduced. Actually, yeah, the first.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
they're arguing about how she broke up with Rex, and then
And the
literally like
dad's
and she
like,
was
forgive him.
yeah
Men cheat. It's okay. Just
yeah
forgive him.
yeah like
God.
her mom was like her mom is the very like her mom is just agrees with what her dad says because she's the trope
She's
of like
very
the
passive.
housewife, the
Yeah.
passive housewife, and like and the dad's very just misogynistic and just awful. Like it's just like, but dad, he cheated on me. Forgive him. Like immediately, he's like, forgive him.
You need someone to watch your back.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's basically Jesus.
Yeah, she literally rearranges the house. Like I can do anything, literally.
Yeah.
And then she leaves, and then the way she leaves is she makes another door that like that shouldn't be there, and she just closes it in front of her. That was so funny. But yeah. So then after that, Titan requests Invincible's help to take down Machine Head, and
how do you do that, Mikey?
Oh, well, I'm gonna take off my thing for a second because my name is the reason for that. He takes a bucket of paint, he buys a bunch of paint, and types in right here. He types in what it's my name, Invincible, but like very abbreviated. And his reason for it, and I quote, is paint costs money and you have a long ass name. And I love that.
Scene.
I loved that. That was so funny. But yeah. So basically, their like little adventure, like him requesting Invincible's help take down Machine Head. Basically, he like shows again Mark how privileged he is as a superhero because Mark Lee says I'm more of a big time superhero wants like who's a save the world type, not the street, not like the hero that does the groundwork, like you can call Fight Force for that. And again, it's just showing how privileged Mark is, and it's just like, oof. Like, yeah, what are your thoughts on like their interaction up here?
Oh man, this is definitely a growing point for Mark to become a superhero. Because like I said before he was just classic 90s, punch things super hard and bada bing bada boom, you're a great guy. But no, in reality, what a superhero really is just someone who sticks to good ideals and tries to help anyone and everyone, regardless of how big or how small the situation is.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's a really great way to address a problem with some superhero comic books where it's just all punchies and flashies and big titty females.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. I mean,
what do you think, Mikey?
I think it's great because again, like again, it plays with that trope that like it's just the bam pow stuff with superheroes. Well, like like why can't like a Superman type character save the little guy, like or like save the people that are deeply affected instead of just destroying an asteroid. But like I'll give Superman credit though, even though I'm not really a big Superman fan, he does actually look out for the little guy.
He does. Yeah. He will not hesitate to help a little girl get a cat out of a tree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, even if Doomsday is literally clapping someone's cheeks, he's like, wait, hold up. I got to help this old lady cross the street. And that's what makes him so great.
Yeah. and this is also a good leeway to figure, like, for Mark to be like, yo, how the actual criminal underworld actually works, like, because he Titan explains to him like, oh, like about who Machine Head is, who his right hand people are, like his sources of income, like the drug trade, the arson, that like why the arson thing, because he does arson to collect the insurance money from people and all that stuff, and it's good, and also like I love how it also changes with Mark's opinion on like how he sees criminals, because he basically says, "Oh no, like because I fought you before. Like remember in the first episode, like you're a criminal, like you're a bad guy." He's like, "No, I'm not a criminal. Like I'm just in with the wrong people." And it's especially when we go to the community center, where we see his wife and kid. Like he said, no, he's doing it. It's like why do you? It's like why do you getting all this money from Machine? It's like it wasn't for me. It's for his wife and daughter. And it's great. Like it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
just like a little bit deeper, like not only him but like the viewer himself, we learn that there isn't really good and evil in
no,
this world. It's not like a solid binary.
it's
There's
not
more
black and
nuance
white.
to it. There's a it's not black and white exactly.
Yeah.
And Titan is the perfect example for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But yeah, so after that happens, Black Samson continues to rant about how much the Guardians suck, and he has a really valid point, because like they literally like everyone's just excited about like a job well done, and they like they change all the I think they changed. I felt like what did Rex change? Like he took like a thing out, like a computer out, and made like a beer rack.
Oh yeah, he removed a computer from the ground that like slides all the way up, and he replaced it with beer. And
Yeah,
it's like that was an important computer. It's like don't even worry about it,
don't even
man. Just
worry about it, man. It was what was it? What was it? Was it your girlfriend robot? Like
run.
fuck. But yeah, but then Samson's like, yo, like stop celebrating. This is terrible. Like and he goes through all these different like he goes through like the whole fight plan with Robot, and he tells him how they could have went about things. Although dope. I mean, it made sense.
Yeah,
Like he
because
was saying, yeah,
how they described it, they were pretty sloppy.
yeah,
They all they did was focus on the villain and beating up the villain, and a lot of people got injured in the process, and a
yeah.
lot of collateral damage too.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Like
That's
I remember
not
he
something you should be celebrating.
exactly. Like I remember he mentioned one of the things he mentioned was that like Rex and Monster Girl, while y'all were fighting, there was a bus that was like on a collision course with these villains, that these villains could with on a collision course with these villains. Rex, you should have, I don't know, like blew up the tires or like turned the ground into gravel so that Monster Girl could have stopped the bus from like colliding, because there were kids in there. Like it's very justifiable. And the Rex is like, yo, back off, Grandpa. Stop reminding us that you were part of the old Guardians of the Globe. And I have daddy issues. Like it's just like you know,
And then Black Samson's like, boy, you don't wanna.
dude. I will
You
never
do
forget.
not understand.
I'll never forget the first couple episodes when that shit that Black Swan said to Rex. Oh my god, I was like, bro, like he's like, I'm gonna hit you so hard so you can remember next time you call me dad again. I was like, Jesus. Yeah, but they're beefing, but it's but Black Samson's right, like and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Trent, so then again, Nolan and Debbie argue about Mark this time, because they don't like Nolan doesn't like the fact that Mark wants to do this thing with Titan, because he thinks he has better things to do. He's a Viltrumite. Like you're Viltrumites save the world. They don't care. They don't care about like the small things.
Which is
And
exactly what he said beforehand.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And but then Debbie is just like, listen, like if this is gonna, if again showing that humanity, like like it's important to, if you can save someone, if you can save lives, do it. Like it doesn't matter how big the scale has to be. And Nolan's just like, oh, Debbie, you don't know shit, shut up. Like,
Oh, Debbie, you silly woman.
exactly.
Let me, this literal god, talk to this child and raise him.
Yeah, and then like that happens, and it spills out when like and then Debbie like reminds Nolan that like you wouldn't. I'm the reason you're a superhero in the first place. Without when you came here, you didn't know shit. You didn't know about our society, the superhero community, none of that. Like so like you're Omni-Man because of me. Just don't remember that shit. Like,
She right. Yeah.
true. Like, it's totally
Like
true.
she has so many like quick lines throughout the show that
Yeah,
it really cements where Mark has the heart of a superhero, you know?
yeah, exactly,
Like, just because you have powers doesn't mean you're a great guy. But,
exactly,
having Debbie as a mom definitely shows us why he's such a great guy, and then he doesn't give up and tries to help the human race, because Debbie is a really great character and understands the human race very well.
exactly.
Very great. So good job with Debbie this time, man.
Yeah,
Good job, Robert Kirkman.
you're really just like,
Great.
yes, because
Yes.
you're doing stuff with Debbie.
Yes.
Let's go.
He
But
really is.
yeah, it's good stuff. I love that. Like, it's showing the like there are layers with these characters. Like, I love that.
Mhm.
But then again, Amber expresses her doubts to Eve about the relationship with her and Mark's relationship. But Eve reassures him, like, listen, like, Mark's a good guy. He's trying his best. Like, give him the benefit of the doubt. Which I mean, again, makes sense.
Oh,
Like,
and they get invited to the soup kitchen that
yeah,
Amber works out, because obviously she works at a soup kitchen because she's so fucking amazing.
yeah, in this place, well, it's the same community center that Titan's daughter hangs out at because
Hmm.
Amber said that, like, when her mom was working, she would be dropped off there, and that was like her second home. Which, I mean, I dig that. I mean that's very relatable. I mean, I've known people that have got to go through a daycare at like a center or something like that, while their parents are working, or at a kind neighbor's house. I mean, I was in that situation when I was growing up because both my parents worked, and I was at a neighbor's place for most of my day after school. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You know.
Hmm.
So it's good stuff, and I love that they're doing that connection. Uh, and it's the time that, like, there's a good message in here with, like, communities of, like, underprivileged communities and stuff like that, and what they used to get by and all that stuff. It's good. It's good stuff that they're addressing that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So after that, Robot confronts the Molitor twins now and being like, "Hey, I want to offer you a deal." Because again, he wants to make his baby Rudy, his baby Rex. So
Yeah, grow
there's
your
that.
own Rudy.
Exactly. Create your own Rex, people.
Hmm.
Gotta make that into a shirt.
Hmm.
Build a Rex. Yeah.
Build a Rex. It's like a Chia Pet, but with Rex.
Yeah.
Chia.
But yeah, so after that, now Titan and Invincible are confronting Machine Head. And I forgot to mention earlier, he gets Titan steals a chip for Machine Head, which allows him to see, like, every possibility. So he knew that they were gonna come here. And so he brought backup, and this backup, as again, like in the comic, this was one change in the
Oh, we didn't even talk about the motive as to why he wants to take out Machine Head.
Oh,
Because Titan was trying to stop being a villain this entire time,
oh
and then
yeah.
after the chip, he said he was done. But the thing is, Titan is such a great grounds guy, and he takes so many
He's
punches,
too
and he doesn't
useful.
even complain. Machine Head's like, nah, you're staying, which is a good representation with criminal organizations. Once you're in, you're in, and
You're
you're
in.
stuck there forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now Titan's gonna take that opportunity to kill Machine Head, so he could finally get out.
Exactly. And I love how he goes back to his wife early in the episode, and it's like, "Oh, like, are we still in?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're still." Like, she knows that what he's doing. It's not a secret, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he calls his Machine Head calls his backup, and again in the comics, there's one change with who he brings in, but, like, so he gets Magnetak. I forget what this guy's name is. The Electric Zap guy. I like the Electro Russian, the Russian
Yeah,
Electro.
literally, I'm pretty sure that's the only time he shows up.
Yeah, he doesn't show up again.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
let's call him Mr. Zaptastic.
Mr. Zaptastic. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Zaptastic, Furnace,
yeah.
Tether Tyrant, and our boy Battle Beast,
Battle Beast.
and who is voiced by Michael Dorn. And I think it's perfect voice for Battle Beast. Oh my god, dude.
Mm-hmm. I
But
always imagine him a little more crazy. Battle Beast's
really,
voice. Yeah, like a little bit more energetic, a
yeah,
bit more kind of off. his voice is just a little bit too smooth for me, but still very nice. I like it.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so that's where we get this crazy ass fight between Mark and it was Mark and Titan versus all of them. And the one difference that this is with this fight is that also another character that was supposed to come in is the Magneto guy with the strap who is like Magneto Shredder. I think his name is Magnatak. Yeah, his name is Magnatak. The lava guy is Magnamaniac. Yeah, there we go.
Did you see that Taylor Tyrant's in there too?
Taylor Tyrant as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who, funny enough, is played by Reginald Vale Johnson. I found that out.
Who's that?
Remember Reginald Vale Johnson, Winslow, Family Matters, or Principal Winslow?
Oh,
Invincible. Yeah. He is the voice for Taylor Tyrant. I thought it was so fun. Nice. I would have never known if I looked that up. If I didn't look it up. But yeah, so they're fighting, and then at the same time, then they get their asses beat, and then the guards intervene, and they get their asses beat. I want to play some of it in the background, maybe like a snippet. Maybe no, I'll play I'll play a section of it in a bit. But yeah, man, it was. Yeah, what was your thoughts on that fight, man? That shit was.
I mean, in the comics, it was not any better at all.
Oh,
they got their asses handed to them, but it was a nice little. They sprinkle in points where Mark just loses control and goes full on ape mode.
Yeah,
those are always nice. I always like those parts because in this comic he feels a little bit weaker. I mean, in the show he feels a little bit weaker than in the comics. It's nice to add a little bit of fucking rage and stepping up.
No, yeah, because I don't think they did that. Well, I don't know if they teased that enough. Because I love it. Because I have it in my notes as well, where there's parts where he gets his Viltrumite rage comes out a little bit, and it's It's actually foreshadowing towards the fight at the end because they didn't really do. They did it. They didn't really hint on it that much in the comic. They definitely showed it when he had the end fight, his Viltrumite his Viltrumite rage. But yeah, it's dude, that fight. I'll play some of it, I guess in the background while we keep talking.
That's just gonna distract the people. But if you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah, I'll play a little. I'll play a little. Nah, fuck, I won't. But yeah, no, it's a dope fight. It's brutal because all of them, because most of them, the other guys get work, but then once it's Battle Beast wrecks all of them. It's dude, it's nuts. It's nuts.
That was such a great way to show where Battle Beast is compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
it's just these are the level of villains that they're dealing with. Day to day, and they're very formidable. What they established with Mark and Titan on their own, they fight, they do the thing, they barely make it out, and then Battle Beast just comes in, nonchalant as all hell, and it's bodied. Oh, you're coming back? You got your second wind, power of friendship, and all that bullshit. Bodied.
Dude,
he doesn't care. Freaking,
because I remember cause I think all of them got taken out, not I know it was Rex, Duplicate, Robot, and Robot. They were taken out, and Shrieking Ray were taken out by the other guys. And then once the other guys were down for the count, it was just Battle Beast taking out Black Samson.
Monster Girl.
He rips Black Samson's he breaks his rips open his wrist and throws him into a wall. Done. He takes he takes Mark. And then we saw that scene with the mace we got in the trailer.
Yep. Right into his guts. Yeah. Splash with blood, and he just enjoys it.
And dude, when it gets to Monster Girl was nuts. Was nuts. Thanks, man. Was nuts. He takes the rocks. He takes the rocks and smashes Monster Girl's head. And it's just bro, it's
so savage.
And
then at the end of the scene, it's revealed that Omni-Man was just watching the
Watching.
entire time.
I
And
love
he
that
didn't
shot.
hear.
I
Yeah.
love that shot where it's like the Mark's perspective of him looking at the ceiling, and then he sees a blur of his dad, and he blinks, and his dad's gone. And it's just like, dude, like it's so good. But yeah, so like that happened, and then to close it off, Titan takes the place of the Machine Head like he does in the comics, and I love again he asks his family, so like it makes him like like he was doing this for his family, which I think is great, not just for himself. Because like how in the comics he was just doing it for himself. You know, which I love. And then also we get a post credit scene. So like while they're all being treated, we don't see that yet, but like they get a sample of Mark's blood, and then they're doing all these tests to see what if Viltrumites have a weakness, and it's revealed, oh no, like nothing
We got nothing.
nothing can hurt Viltrumite cells, nothing. Like viruses, radiation, none of that. Like and then but then Donald's like, you know what, but I think blood is still the answer. And it's like foreshadowing. Scourge virus.
Oh yeah. Completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on episode 5? That's like
Trying to think. I don't think I left anything out
yeah,
from the explanation I already gave.
yeah. It's good. It's good. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's this is like it kind of gets a lot like slower just because it's very expositional until the very end. But yeah, again, more of those layers, man. I love it. I love how they're doing it. You know.
One thing I kind of threw me off a little bit was Titan first being like, I don't want to be a part of this criminal world anymore. And
Yeah.
then he takes out Machine Head. He runs it now. I don't know how I feel about his character now after that. Like at first I was like, oh, he's a great guy. But now I'm like, he's kind of in a point of power where
I mean, yeah.
he can manipulate a lot of people. So I don't know.
I
He does
mean,
say he was going to try to do a lot of good for a lot of people.
yeah.
But,
We honestly don't know. Like,
yeah.
they could be maybe going that route. Be like, oh no, he's probably like he's probably taking control of crime like for the better of everyone,
Mm-hmm.
or he's just being selfish. And but the thing is like if you didn't have a family, I think it would be the same perception like it was in the comic. Um, like that's a significant change in my opinion.
Right.
But I mean, who knows? I mean, we'll have to see because that's probably not going to be brushed on until season 2. But
Yeah.
I don't really have any more thoughts on it. Just like this episode, it's really good. And yeah, it's really good. A lot of layers, a lot of setting up. Again, more of the suspicion stuff. That fight at the end was brutal. Like it was brutal. And I love watching it being like, yo, like I forgot I was watching an Invincible show because I'm like, yo, this is so bad. Like there can't be anything worse than this. And then we watched the last. Yeah. So like, yeah. But I have no other thoughts. It's great. It's solid, slow a little bit, but it got great towards the end. It's good stuff. But all right. So last episode, just to finish it off, is episode 6 titled "You Look Kind of Dead," and this episode again, all about the Reanimen, and I love that. I forget which. I think it's issue like I would say issue.
They do it so out of order, but it's definitely a lot later.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it happened.
It's mentioned. It's the university attack happened in the first 9. I know that for a fact. I just don't remember which one.
Okay.
But it's brushed on more later on, obviously. But yeah, man, it's good stuff. So we get the beginning of the episode starts to the upstate university campus at night. And it's very casual. Again, like some of these episodes are gonna get a lot of like smaller characters. So like the father and son, stepson, we get those guys in the beginning a lot, which I love because it contrasts, the relationship between Mark, how our father and son should be, and then you see Mark and Nolan towards the end of like their relationship and how messed up it gets. So I love that contrast. That's why they're there. But yeah, we will get these little fun moments, like a guy who comes out of the bushes to flirt with some girls. I'm sorry, who's drinking in the bushes, and his name is motherfucking Doug Cheston.
Motherfucking Doug.
Who, in my opinion, best character in Invincible.
Yeah, it's Morty from Rick and Morty growing up.
It is, right?
Yeah, it's the same voice
Same
actor.
actor? Yeah.
Yeah,
So funny. Like, he just wants to sleep with all these women because he has
yeah,
a trust fund and his dad owns a part of a building he paid like for the school.
yeah.
So he's from Penn State.
Stereotypical frat bro douchebag. Always love to see it.
Yeah, it's so great. But then once these girls are like, no, this man is gross. He ends up getting knocked out by a mysterious stranger and
Huh.
kidnapped and wakes up in a table where he's being experimented on. And I
Oh,
love how the person is trying to, who is D.A. Sinclair, he's trying to explain like what his plans are. But he's like, oh, you're a freaking nerd, bro. Shut up.
fucking nerd.
You're a
God, shut
nerd.
up.
It's so great. But yeah, so that's that happened. And then so now here's the aftermath of the fight that happened last time. So what happens is like, so basically like we have uh Invincible, Black Samson, and Monster Girl because they took the most damage, obviously, because they got
Mhm.
messed up.
Rushing to the emergency room.
Yeah, they're rushed into the emergency, but then we see, Robot coming to Monster Girl's aid because he's been studying her because he likes her.
Because he's
Um,
trying to fuck.
yeah, so he knows her physiology and the right treatment for her because the doctors have no clue. They're literally like curious, like because they put what's the thing they put what you put in your throat to have you like breathe? I forget what it's called.
No.
It's not a cadaver. That's not what that. I think maybe it is a
That's a
cadaver.
dead body. A cadaver is a dead body.
No, catheter. My fault. But that's not.
Catheter, it's for
That's
your
for the
penis.
other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breathing tube. And like
Yeah,
what you
go
put.
with breathing tube.
Yeah, they put a breathing tube in her, and then she morphs into her monster form, and she sort of just hits Dodger, and she spits it right out. Like, but then he comes and is like, listen, I gotta do this, 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 and this. And he's like, they're like, who are you? And he's like, listen, you want her to die right now? Let me do my thing. Like, I like that. Black Samson ends up, I'm gonna just say it early on, he ends up, there's a bright light, and he ends up getting his powers back, which I like how they kind of sped it up
Yeah.
because the last time because in the comic it's when they're fighting ultra dimensional Skeletor, and he
Mhm.
dies, and then that's when he gets his powers back.
Yeah. Oh, and they also skipped the whole Butler going evil for Black
Yeah,
Samson kind of thing, which was good. It wasn't all that interesting or memorable,
I thought
really.
it was funny in the comic.
Yeah, it was all right. The best part was seeing Savage Dragon in the
Yeah,
background.
yeah, all those
Yeah,
image characters.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, there's that. But then also it was revealed when Mark, comes to after surgery because remember he had a hole in him. He was out for like 6 days.
Yeah.
And then but then Eve comes in and tells him Mark like because Mark's all like Amber, I gotta get to Amber. But then Eve reveals like, oh no, I told her you got hit by a bus, and from the looks of it, it looks like you did get hit by a bus, so it makes sense. Yeah, so there's that, and then later on, Amber talks to Mark after he recovers about his accident, and then but the thing is like she kind of there's a thing where like she was bothered how like one she didn't know she couldn't even go in the hospital. She didn't like because Mark couldn't tell her because we were at the hospital at the Pentagon. So there's that. Then two that Eve was there and that she wasn't. And again, it's again like they're dealing with like their obstacles like or their relationship and like not really like trusting Mark and being suspicious. Again, with the whole theme of the arc, So there's that, and then William, our boy William, and again I love William a lot more in the show than I do in the comic. Even though I
Very
do
true.
like William in the comic later on. He invites Mark to a trip to upstate U because he's going to
See a boy,
not obviously to look at stuff for med school, Christian,
of course.
but it's
That's
mostly because he wants.
totally the main driving point as to
Yeah,
why William is going there.
yeah,
Of
but
course.
he
Yeah.
he wants to see Rick, our boy Rick,
Hmm.
and I love that. It's so cute.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, Rick's the guy William had sex with at summer camp.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like I'm in love with him.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. And he invites Mark, and then Mark takes opportunity to maybe invite Amber and be like, hey, we can have a trip, maybe like patch things up and all that stuff. I think it'd be fun because he's kind of forcing, in order to keep this relationship alive, we need to go to college together.
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
So it's
which is bad. Don't do that.
don't do that,
People
people.
back at home, don't go to a college just because your significant other's going to college. Because you're going to break up and it's going to be awkward, and you're like, why am I here?
Exactly.
Remember that. Remember that,
Remember
kid.
that's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but then it's this transitions later to Eve and Mark having a conversation at Mark's house. Like Eve pops in and is telling Mark like, "Hey, like I'm not gonna go to college. I'm just gonna I'm gonna quit being a superhero. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go explore the world and actually make a real difference because she's basically a god with her powers. She can end world hunger and stop and change the environment for the better and all that stuff. Everything again, it's again like her Rama comic, which I love. So they're doing all that stuff. Uh,
Yep.
it's good stuff. And then at a college seminar, that's when we're introduced to. When we're at the college, we get introduced to Rick, and Rick's such a nice guy. He's so nice, and
The
he
fine
invites,
ass.
yeah, with his fun ass. And he invites him to a seminar, and that's when we get introduced to D.A. Sinclair, who, funny enough, is played by Ezra Chokovich Miller. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller, The Flash, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just he's just going off about how this lecture is pointless because I think the lecture was about heart conditions or about the heart and how human beings will basically wither away over time and how can we change that for the better. And he's like, oh, we could do maybe a diet, exercise, or maybe do genetics. No, we should make everyone into cyborgs. That's how we can increase the evolution of humans, make everyone into cyborgs.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summation of Sinclair's whole goal.
Yeah.
Turn people into cyborgs. Fuck dying.
Yeah.
Fuck being weak. Just put robot stuff in them.
And then I love how Amber's just like, who's this dick?
Yeah, honestly.
It's so great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he gets but then Rick's like, hey, step off, just leave, stop being weird. And he's like, okay, I'll remember that, Rick.
Yeah, and Sinclair is just like, yes, the taut alpha male.
Exactly.
Telling me, the nerd, not to talk shit about shit. I'll remember that, boy.
I'll remember that.
And your taut muscles.
Exactly. But then after that, a creature attacks again, a Reaniman. That's when we're introduced to Reaniman, in the comic. And then, Mark is like, everyone's they're trying to help everyone. Then Mark dips for a second to then be invincible real quick, and Amber's like, Mark, what the hell?
Yeah, Amber's just trying to help evacuate everyone, and Mark just disappears.
Yeah, well, the Reaniman was choking out William, so that's when he dipped.
Yeah,
and then he went back as invincible, and then that's when William was like, oh my god, you're invincible, and Amber's like, what the fuck?
Where did you go?
Yeah, but then that's when we reveal that when Invincible knocks the mask off of the Reaniman, that it's motherfucking Doug Cheston. And then he looks at his reflection, and then it revealed he realized deep down inside is what happened to me, what am I? And he ends up killing himself. He belly flops on the campus statue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Mark comes back in and is just like, oh my. And he's like, Amber's like, what the hell? And he's just like, oh, I was going to get help. That's what I went to do. And no, you abandoned us. You're a liar, Mark. I don't love you anymore. And it's just like, okay. Yeah. It's just, it's a typical superhero with a girlfriend trope. She's not, because they can't keep the identity, but they're gonna be suspicious, and they're just like, no, F you, it is what it is. So after that, Black Samson, I added this in my notes because Black Samson's talking to a robot, because a robot is being awfully close to Amanda, the monster girl, taking care of her, and he's just like, how do you have emotions? You're a robot. I don't see you. And robot was like, oh no, my program.
Yeah, I don't see you crying over my bed.
Exactly.
That's the whole deal with you crying over Monster Girl's bed.
Yeah.
Because you're a black man and she's a girl, that's why.
Exactly. It's again
a pedophile.
It's again teasing the whole Rudy reveal, because at this time, if you're watching this blind, if you know the comic, you don't know that Rudy is actually robot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought that was a cool note to add. And then Debbie takes the costume that she found to Art to examine, and they do a bunch of tests. And I think that's really cool. They find that like every part of the costume that's damaged is related to another individual Guardian member. So like scratches on the costume are from Darkwing's like batarangs.
Yeah.
The
Darkwing rings.
Yeah, the singeons of the on his chest are coming from Red Rush's like punching
Friction burns.
friction burns and all that stuff. But then he makes one of the good pieces of evidence that they find that's really important. That like he uses these type of the scanning technique to examine the blood, and because blood oxidizes, they can basically tell how
old
old
they
the blood
are.
is. And he finds out that like the oldest blood in the suit comes from Nolan's like hands, like his gloves, which
Yeah.
means that like Nolan clearly struck first. So they both know that he definitely killed them. But still,
Yep, and it wasn't self-defense.
yeah, is it for self-defense or because he's evil? They don't know obviously, but we know because Nolan's bad. But after that, we see some cool transition of like Eve making a difference. She's curing deforestation and growing
Other
crops and
things.
other stuff. It's really cool. It's good stuff, like in the comic.
Yeah.
So now the Mahler twins, we get a cool conversation from the Mahler twins talking to Robot about like, hey yo, Robot, what you need this for, bro? Like, what's going on here? Like, why are we doing all this work? And he's like, shut up, I'm paying you.
Yeah, don't ask me questions. Fuck you.
Yeah. He's like, but we could put liquid pneumonia in this thing. Yeah. Like,
Ultrons are like, hey, do you trust him? It's like, I don't trust him. It's like, we should probably have a contingency plan. But you're right. Let's go add bombs in his kneecaps. Yeah. Second he betrays us, boom, blows up his kneecaps. And I
love how he's just like, okay, I want you to finna try to make a contingency plan. I love that. But again, I love how they're questioning it. We didn't really see that in the comic either.
Yeah, because they're smart.
Yeah,
they're smart.
Yeah, they're smart. Remember, they're geniuses too. So after that, Amber gets invited to a party by a frat boy, and Mark's like, oh, I'm jealous.
Not just any frat boy. It's the same frat boy that she started dating in the comics. Remember that white guy?
No, it's not Gary.
It's not? I could have sworn his name was Gary.
I don't think his name was Gary.
All right.
Oh, IMDb it to make sure while we're talking. But like, I don't think it's Gary. If it is though, I'm like, whoa, how did I miss that? But yeah, he gets invited to a party, and while Mark is sulking, Rick's like, I'll liven the party up. I'm gonna go out, we'll get some beers, and we'll have a good time. And then he gets kidnapped on the way there by a Rhiannon. And while he's on call with William, and William's like, hey Mark, like Rick got kidnapped. Can you do something?
You help you being a superhero?
And he's just like, no, he's probably fine. Like Amber, sulking teenager. But so there's that, and Robot checks up on Monster Girl, and then she's surprised that she checked on her. Like he's been with her the whole time, which makes her question like, why is this robot check on me the entire time? Like it's sweet, but like you're a robot, like So more cooking and more seasoning there. Nolan and Art have a catch up with some beers on the roof, and I love this because
post figuring out that he was the one who killed Guardians of the
Glory. And I love how like Art's trying to keep a poker face here, and and they're having a good time because like they're friends. But everything that Nolan is saying has a double meaning behind it, and it's just like it's just like and again, that nod to J.K. Simmons and Mark Hamill, because their performance of that is like it's so good. Like it's so good. Like Arch is like he's having a good time. He's also uncomfortable because he killed the Guardians. Nolan's also having a good time. Maybe because we know like Nolan doesn't really care about people, but like he's just like but like what if I did murder everyone? Like like it's
what you gonna do about it, Art?
Yeah, like it's very eerie, and I love that.
Yeah.
After that, William ends up getting taken by the Reanimen as well, looking for Rick, and then also Mark ends up, getting the guts after talking with William that he needs to save him, and that's when he encounters D.A. Sinclair and the Reanimen. They have a crazy fight, and that's when we realize that like one of the Reanimen is Rick, and then it's revealed that there's a flaw. Like even though like D.A. Sinclair were trying to have this perfection, there's a flaw. Like Rick ends up tapping into his
Oh
humanity after
man,
seeing
no,
Rick get
Mikey,
hurt.
there wasn't an error or anything. They used the power of gay to bring him
Exactly.
back. Yeah, William was like, "Do you remember back in summer camp? We had sex, best night of my life. You were my
Word.
sexual awakening." And then Rick was like, I gotta save my boyfriend. God, he
Oh,
rips off his
yeah. His
his
chip.
whatever chip, and
Yeah.
he awakens himself. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Time to fuck shit up," and he
Yeah,
does.
and I love how he's like, "Are you crying?" And he's just like, what?" Like Diaz like, "Why is my plan not working?" Like it's just like it's so funny. And then they mess shit up, and then I think I remember when we were at Damone's and we were watching it. Rick William straight up goes to Sinclair after what happened and fucks him up. Like he's straight up just pounding
Yeah,
on
he
his
just straight up
face.
beat him up, barefisted.
Yeah, and then like Sinclair takes him off of him, and we get the iconic shot from the comic as we see here, where Mark straight up
Mm-hmm.
backhands his jaw off, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
dude. And yeah, that basically ends that. um,
Damn.
it just disfigures Sinclair, and it's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's showing again like his Viltrumite side. Like he Mark says it wasn't like Mark kind of says that it was an accident, but like he low key kind of meant it, even though he didn't really like kind of mean it. Like it was
Yeah,
intentional, but
he
it wasn't
he
intentional.
he deep down wanted to. He deep down let loose, but
Yeah,
after he's angry, he felt like it was bad, and he regrets doing it.
exactly. So there's that. To finish it off, Sinclair is taken into custody by Cecil, and they also take Rick to like try to like help him. And to end it off, I don't think I have anyone. Yeah, to end it off, Debbie finally confronts Nolan with the truth and about how why he killed the Guardians, and he's just like, "Oh, you're drunk! Like, shut up, woman." And then like it just ends with him just sitting there like in just disbelief that like everything he's built is like crumbling, like it's falling apart slowly, and
You're, you're
that dark blood was right.
you're gonna skip over the fact that Debbie looked this man who could destroy half a planet right in the face and was said "fuck you," and then
Oh yeah,
goes
basically,
upstairs and he
yeah,
does nothing.
he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no one does nothing.
Could have
Yeah,
punched her in the stomach, but you didn't.
yeah.
So
Because
like,
Debbie is a badass.
but also just like, did he not do it because he cares about Debbie? Like that's the whole question,
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And not the end of episode 6. So what were your thoughts on this episode?
Good, very good. It's
It's
kind of
it's
on
slow.
the boring side out
It's
of
very
all the
slow.
other ones.
Yeah, it's the slowest episode out of them all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's the only complaint. But of course, you had to do it just to set everything up because all this setup was very important for the
exactly,
next couple of episodes.
exactly.
Yeah, and also fucking Amber being so bullshit. This one section combined with the last section, I mean, with the next episode, is what really fucked up her character. Because
I mean,
the next episode, it said that she knew all along where he was, that he was a superhero. But in this episode, she was pretending like he wasn't. So which one's the truth, really? Was she
yeah,
just being a dick that one time, being like, "Where were you?" Even though you knew that he was saving people's lives, or are you just lying? You know?
yeah. Like that's kind of the whole plot hole that I don't that with her character that because because I mean we could talk about more like when we do that when we do the last part of the review next
Yeah,
time. But like because like if you knew he was if you knew he was invincible the entire time, why would you be mad that he was saving people's lives over you? That's kind of selfish. But like
yeah.
if you're in that, but like here's my thing: if you're in that situation, if you're in her shoes, would you not be selfish? Like
In her shoes?
yeah, well, like
I
even though
mean,
he's
knowing or not knowing
yeah,
about the superhero part, because I'll have two different answers for that.
yeah,
If I knew he was a superhero, I wouldn't be selfish. If I
yeah,
didn't know, I would be selfish.
yeah. Like we'll talk about it for part 3 of the review, but
Yeah.
this episode, yeah, slowest out of all of them. But again, we get more. It's more of setting up the last two definitely because then we have to make sure that we have those layers intact so that the last two episodes are the most like emotionally impactful ones, the most like in terms of development for these characters and like for the climax of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ezra Miller, J. Sinclair. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I'm sorry, Ezra Chokovich Miller. Sorry,
There you go. Yeah.
pardon me. I thought it was great. For as Sinclair, the reanimate that was great. The humor in the beginning to set up the reanimate that was great. Like the William, like I love William a lot more than in the comic than in, a lot more in the show than the comic because we get to know more about him.
Yeah, his character definitely gets more fleshed out. He's not the stereotypical background friend.
Exactly, which he
Mm-hmm.
was for like most of the book until later on. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, it's good stuff, and then that fight at the end was more tame because the last fight before that was a lot. So like,
Yeah.
so they had action, but needed to like tame it up a little bit.
Yeah, in the comics, literally his jaw was hanging by a thread.
Word.
Like it was fully detached,
Mm-hmm.
but except for like a tiny little bit of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got fucked up by
Mm-hmm.
Invincible in the comics.
Also, real quick before we say our final thoughts, do you think because in the comic they revealed at the end of the book that uh that Cecil had intentions with Sinclair, like he was going to use the Reaniman for his own good. Do you think for his own intentions? Do you think they should have added that scene in here because they don't have that scene in here? They just brush on it. They just brush it out as a surprise at the end of like the last episode.
Did I
So
want them to show that?
yeah,
No, I don't think so. I think the whole point of showing it was to be like, ooh, yeah, Cecil's not 100% that great of a guy. He's
yeah,
more about the whole good for all rather than
yeah.
good for
Like
some.
the ends justify the means.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think we get a pretty decent feel for it with Damien Darkblood.
yeah,
So there's no real point of adding it anymore. It's
yeah.
just kind of like repeating the same state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
If
All right,
if
yeah.
if they
It,
added that.
it was just a thought that I had
That's a
because
good thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now to finish, just close it out. Just final thoughts on this episode 4. I think it's good. It's Chris, you want to go first? My fault. You should.
Not enough dudes kissing.
Of
That's all I'm
course,
gonna say.
Christian. Not enough dudes kissing.
Yes.
I thought it was good. Like it's really good because again, like I love this suspicion overarching theme that they have going on with Nolan suspecting, no, Demi suspecting Nolan, Amber suspecting Mark with what he's doing, like in the relationship. Freaking like the Muller twins suspecting Robot. Like it's everyone is just not trusting each other here, and I love that. And
Everyone's
again,
got something going on, which is great.
yeah, everyone has something. Everyone has different other intentions, going on, and I love that.
Mhm.
And again, it adds more character development for these characters, but so to set up that climax because like we have to care about these characters by the end of like obviously like the but before the showdown between Mark and Omni-Man. So like we have to at least build that character development not just for Mark and all stuff, but even for Nolan, because is he a bad dude? Yes, but like we have to say, is he's not entirely bad, So yeah, and again, and it gives, and I love how they did those changes to give the smaller characters who didn't have time to get fleshed out in the comic more like Damien Darkblood is so good. I love Damien Darkblood, and his arc throughout the whole season, as well as William and Rick and all that stuff. Like I think it's so good.
Yeah, it's good that he wasn't treated like a joke this time.
Yeah, because he was just a joke.
Because he was really just a punchline.
Yeah, Kirkman, if you're watching this next season, do Invincible in Hell, please.
Yes.
That'll be so fun.
Yes.
Like, I think for the last review we'll maybe get, because Declan was talking to me about because Robert Kirkman made a Reddit when the show was happening and then talked about it with the fans, like what he was planning on doing for the show going forward and stuff like that. And that's how I learned about that. Yeah, we'll obviously talk about the next last two episodes as well, and we'll get our theories for the season next season going forward and all that stuff. But yeah, this whole arc I loved. Like, and prove it. Like, I like this show a lot more than like the comic. Like,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but yeah. So anything else you want to get across before we close out?
Debbie really shined in these episodes.
Yeah,
good job.
Debbie does. Eve, I think Eve shines a bit more in the show than the comic.
Yeah.
But even though her arc is very like the same in this moment in the show, the story of the show compared to the comic. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. I'm excited to talk about the next thing. But yeah, so
what's the next thing, Mikey?
So the next episode, well, this is bonus episode, like bonus episode. Hopefully, it's maybe Science Dog. Please, you just got a Science Dog. As well as part 2 of the last part of the review for the show going forward. So episodes 7 and 8, the climax, the end. And I can't wait to talk about that, dude. That's gonna be
fun. Do we want to tell them the special thing that we're planning on doing?
Oh yeah, people.
Or should we just tease them and be like, we're planning something special for the last episode?
Yeah, for the last episode of the main story, to finish out for that, we're gonna have something a little special. We're not gonna tell you what it is yet.
Yes, we're not. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you what it is yet, but we'll reveal it when we do the End of All Things Part 1. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll reveal it. And I have to get to work on it, so like that will give me time. But yeah, so we'll see. So look out for. When we'll be planning on doing Science Dog as well as other bonus stuff. We'll probably do the rest of the bonus episodes maybe after we finish main story. But so obviously we're gonna do part 1 of End of All Things next week. Hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll see.
If anything changes, we'll let you know. Maybe we'll do Science Dog before that. I just wanted to do Science Dog to get out of the way. But yeah, so just look out for that. Comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Christian, you want to do a second outro? Do you want to do
a question for the people to ask themselves?
Yeah, you can do a show related question. We're talking about the show if you want.
A show related question.
Like for the I don't know, like.
All right. So we know canonically that the Invincible universe has access to the Marvel universe. This one crossover that they did with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Who, DC or Marvel, would you want for a crossover with the Invincible show? Quick cameo. For me, I would love Hellboy to be in there when they visit Hell, being like Damien Darkblood's cousin or something like that.
That would be funny. They could do it.
I would enjoy that.
Hellboy is Dark Horse, but like that would. It's indie, so I mean that'd be fun. I don't know. That'd be. I loved like Invincible and Spider-Man when we did that episode. That was so much fun. That's a great crossover. I don't know. No, freaking Invincible and Nova. We gotta do that.
Invincible and Nova, yeah.
We can make that joke in the crossover, and I would love to see those two together doing space stuff.
Doing space stuff. Space boys.
But yeah, good question. That's a good question.
Thank you.
I'll close it out with my own question. I started it because this is going to tease into the bonus episode we're doing as well. Who would you cast as Invincible in the Invincible movie that is upcoming? Because we are going to do a bonus episode in probably actually immediately. I'm playing it immediately after we finish part 2 about the Invincible movie that's going to be coming out as well. It's in development. So who would you cast as Invincible? I have my casting. I'm not going to say it, but like
And I
But
don't know stars' names, so
I'll tell you at mine when we finish up, Christian. But yeah, thanks for
okay.
watching.
Why don't you just tell me now?
No. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell the audience.
Okay.
But
All right.
but thanks to the people that are watching this and or will watch this. We appreciate it. Obviously, comment, like, subscribe. If you haven't watched any of our all Invincible episodes, our bonus and main stuff, what are you doing? I'll put the thing right there in the corner so you can check it out. And yeah, look out for the next episode next week, and we will catch y'all later. All right, get on safe.
Get them safe.
Bye bye.